Morning. I can't believe I'm up here following all these rock stars that have spoken this morning. So we're so honored to be speaking here this morning. My name is Jamie Hebert, and this is my husband, Alec Mapa, and I'd briefly like to share how I found All Saints, or I like to say how it found me, and why we continue to bring our family here. I first came to All Saints in December of 2008. We had just elected a new president a month prior. Feelings of joy, hope, and victory still filled people's hearts with the election of President Obama and the possibility of a new day in America. But along with that elation came a dark cloud. California voters had passed a divisive, unfair, and immoral proposition named Proposition 8. Perhaps you've heard of it? Oh, no. My husband, Alec, and I had already exchanged vows and rings in an intimate wedding at our home in Highland Park in 2006, basically saying, screw the government, we're not going to wait for you to say it's okay to get married. However, in October of 2008, just to secure our legal and financial future, we obtained our marriage certificate in the small window of time when same-sex marriage was legal in the state. After the results of voting came in, I was slightly shook up that Prop 8 passed, and that a great number of people thought my marriage was not valid, not important, and not worthy. And although Alec and my marriage was safe, even worse feeling flooded my heart when I thought about how my gay brothers and lesbian sisters could not gain this basic equal right we had secured. It felt completely unfair, and in my heart, I didn't feel as if my marriage was valid unless everyone's marriage was valid. So I got very active in Prop 8 protests and letter writing, and one of the protest events sponsored was called Call In Gay Day. What you were meant to do when you called in gay was to let your place of work know you were protesting Prop 8 by not showing up to work and committing yourself to a day of service. My workplace was very supportive of this, and I remember thinking that I really wanted to give back to a religious organization that was on the side opposite of all the other religious organizations coming to Prop 8, to thank them for taking a courageous stand on my behalf. And I remember a church in Pasadena that was always present at rallies and was getting a lot of press from their vocal opposition to Prop 8. So I think I just Googled something like Prop 8 Church, Pasadena, gay-friendly, something like that. And what was the first thing that popped up? So I called this place called All Saints and spoke to the kind woman that answered, told her what I was doing, and she said, hold on, let me put you through to Susan Russell. So I spoke with Susan. She said to come the next day. It just happened to be the annual shrimp party to thank all the volunteers for their service that year, and I could help set up. Now, I'm from Louisiana, so I love shrimp. So how lucky was I that my first day of volunteering was at the shrimp party? Did I mention there was wine, too? I assisted setting up shrimp trays, putting out coffee, setting up chairs, drinking wine, and had the best time with some of the most delightful people that seemed so not religious. You have to realize at this point in my life, I was certainly not looking to start going to church. I hadn't been to church since I stopped attending the Church of Christ, not the United Church of Christ, the Church of Christ, at age 18. I had been very spiritual in college, dabbling in Eastern religions. I meditated. I felt connected to nature and humanity, but never thought I could step into a church ever again and feel welcomed or feel home. I wasn't even sure I wanted to. My religious upbringing as a child told me I was unworthy, unclean, and damned to spend eternity in a place charmingly referred to as the Lake of Fire. So, every week. So, I didn't need church, and church certainly didn't want me. And then All Saints came along and completely screwed all of that up. I went one Sunday on my own and attended a service at All Saints. I was in awe of the sense of comfort I felt in sitting there. I felt like I was already family, and the mood was celebratory. I had never felt the lightness of church before, and my eyes started watering in that first service because I realized I loved church. I always had. I always was moved by the hymns, the fellowship of a community. I had always wanted to be fully accepted in church as a kid. I just felt I wasn't. And here I was, like a little child in All Saints, and I was wanted and celebrated. The spiritual me was starving and needed a place to call home, and I knew I had found it. So I kept coming Sunday after Sunday, and I was ready to fight for peace and justice worldwide. I visited the action table, wrote to my representatives. Eventually, after seeing how elated I was every Sunday after attending services, Alec, my husband, joined me. Alec was raised Catholic, so the ritual fit in and fed a part of him that longed for that, but he could no longer attend Mass because of the Vatican's archaic stance on many social and human rights issues. We both found that our commitment to justice, peace, and inclusion lined up with the messages coming from the pulpit here.
Oh, isn't he good? He was so nervous.
I'm a producer, so I'm always behind the camera. Here's the actor.
I was raised Filipino Catholic, all right? That's not, so with Filipino Catholics, you get a whole extra bucket of crazy to go along. We don't just believe in God, we believe in everything. Vampires, leprechauns, Bigfoot. The only thing we don't believe in is paying retail. So, I became a convert to All Saints out of one sentence that was in the liturgy here. In the Catholic Church, at the end of the Mass, we say, "God be with you." Like, good luck. I hope it turns out well for you. And at All Saints, they say, "God is with you." And that affirmation changed everything for me. It wasn't a wish. It was, God is with you. And the minute I heard that, I was like, wow, you people get away with murder. So that's when I started attending. And about the time that Jamie and I started attending, we were seriously thinking about adopting a child. We took all the mandatory classes. We were certified as foster parents and were placed with our foster son, Zion, 2 years ago, as of yesterday. He had just turned 5 when he came to live with us, and we stayed away from church for a bit of time, not out of any choice, but because all three of us were in a state of massive adjustment and transition, which took every fiber of our being to remain emotionally and physically present. We didn't sleep for about a year. About the time we officially adopted Zion in October of 2010, we introduced him to All Saints, and it's now his favorite part of any Sunday. His favorite part is buying cookies right after the Mass and schmoozing with everybody on the front lawn. And so now he's on board to attend church with us now, too.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that happened is as my... Oh, you're short. As my... Sorry, we're probably way over 10 minutes at this point. As my spiritual life at All Saints blossomed, so did my professional life. I was introduced to filmmaker and All Saints member Bill Brummel, and I associate produced 2 documentaries for him, Bullied, in conjunction with the folks at the Southern Poverty Law Center, and Erasing Hate for MSNBC. I'm also currently working as producer on the next Voices of Witness film with Louise Brooks. And it's about adding the importance of adding gender identity and gender expression to non-discrimination policies in the Episcopal Church so we may protect our transgender brothers and sisters. Also, I have joined the All Saints Food Ministry as a volunteer and am able to help those seeking a meal once a week. So it seemed that the universe was using All Saints as a gateway to bring the opportunities of creativity, career, and service to me.
The reason we continue to attend All Saints High with Zion is because we want him to have a strong spiritual base, a base that includes thinking of himself as an essential part of the puzzle that is the great big world, a base that promotes tolerance, helping others, putting love before all else, and challenging and questioning the meaning of religion. We hope that with this firm spiritual base, we can send our 7-year-old into the world a kind, compassionate, honest, and thoughtful being.
And as a Filipino, Black, Cajun, gay family, we don't feel odd here. We fit in. At a Tea Party rally, yes, but here, no. And there's Herman Cain, right? But and Alec and I need this place weekly, too. Personally, I consider it a weekly spiritual therapy to repair years of suffering at the hands of religious oppression. It's also a reminder of how lucky we are, an initiator to take action for the things we believe in the very core of our being, and a reminder that we are already all we need to be to make the world a better place. Susan in closing, Susan asked us to share our adoption video with you. Susan was there with us on court a year and a half ago in October. We would have loved to have you all there, but there weren't enough chairs. So Susan came to represent you all, and we wanted to share the quick clip with you because you couldn't be there. And we just want to thank this church and this community for so many things. We're so happy to be a part of this family. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's why we do this. The arc of the story that for us began with a couple and a rector not being willing to settle for less than being fully included, and outward and visible signs of the love, presence in their life and their relationship have planted the seeds that have grown and the ripples that have cast out, not just in this place, but through the community, through the culture, through the church, the communion, and even the world, as we continue to work to bend that arc of history towards equality.